All right, welcome back. Sports Show YouTube. We got a really fun one here. We're going to check out Chris Johnson from the 2009 season, throwing up 2,000 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. Chris Johnson, in just his second season, lit the NFL up in 2009. That's good for 125 rushing yards per game. Whoa! Chris Johnson, man, from 2008 to about 2013, really putting up some incredible numbers. His career was cut a little bit short. I mean, he really started on the decline right about that running back age at 29, 30 years old. Played for the Giants, played for Arizona, but those magic years were out there in Tennessee. So let's run this. Chris Johnson, one of the most electrifying running backs in NFL history, his 2009 season when he lit up the NFL for 2,000 yards. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Let's run it.
Yard line on first down. Collins is going to hand the ball to Johnson. Johnson will cut back the other way, and the speedy Johnson with a first down and a lot more. And Troy Polamalu finally chases him down along the sideline, and we have our first penalty flag of the game. Collins out in the flat. And that's Johnson escaping a tackle, and Johnson picking up a first down. That was Lamar Woodley, the outside linebacker, who was one-on. The ball is at the 21-yard line as Tennessee begins this drive. And here is Johnson, who cuts it back upfield. He takes it out to the 28-yard line. The second and 3 from the 28-yard line. Johnson again. Johnson threading his way through, cutting it back, up past the 40. Chris Johnson to the 45-yard line. So 2 big runs tonight, 9 carries.
Hands it off. Johnson trying to bounce it outside. Down the line. Uh-oh. Watch out. See you later. Touchdown.
I don't care what anybody says. I love me some damn Gus Johnson out there.
57 yards for the burner. And 4 at the 31. Chris Johnson now lines up at the... Nobody's covering him. Nobody's covering Chris Johnson. Wow! There he goes again.
Chris Johnson said, why?
High speed, and he'll jog into the end zone. Touchdown. 69 yards. Now making about 7.5 million this season. Here's Johnson again, bounces outside, turns a corner, and is out of bounds at the 20. Dante Robinson. First down. They swing it out. Johnson spins. And Johnson does not get out of bounds, but he gets inside Houston territory. Which young defense does before it gets great. And Johnson again! Watch out! Johnson! Speed! Touchdown! Oh! 91 yards! This kid is incredible!
You know, Gus, it all starts up inside. Just a nice job of following Eugene Amano right around the corner as the off guard comes around. He grabs his jersey and just pulls himself through the hole. And then, as we've said, Gus, anytime it's a foot race between you and him, you lose.
Johnson again, running to the right side, breaking it outside. 35 down to about the 31-yard line. The give to Johnson. Johnson trying to turn the corner. And out of bounds at about the 40.
Who you will all get to see in just a matter of minutes.
Chris Johnson, right side. Uses the block. Midfield. To the Jet 46. 11 and a half to play. Here's Chris Johnson still trying to find running room, and he does. Down the near sideline. Caught at midfield and into Jet territory at the 47-yard line.
That's why even if you've only been running it with modest success, you don't stop. You can't stop being who you are. You can't stop giving this guy touches. And this was so close. This was really, really close.
first down. He gives to Johnson, and Johnson for a first down to the 40. We were talking with...
They came with pressure after pressure.
Chris Johnson finding room on the right side and out to the 45 and a first down.
But that's what Tennessee can do that New England couldn't.
Anything of that? Ooh, that's a fist bump. On 3rd and short, the quick toss to Johnson with the speed to turn the corner. And it looked as if he pulled up a bit as he hit the sidelines. Has Tennessee dangerously close now to an 0-4. Chris Johnson skipping away, one man to beat, and finally a big tackle coming from behind. Derek Landry, credit him with hustle because Chris Johnson was about to be at full speed. No risk extra point would do the job, but in this case with Chris Johnson kicking his heels into the end zone, it's a moot point.
That was ruled an incomplete pass. And this is Johnson.
Gonna run for it. Johnson has the first. And here comes the speed for Johnson. McGowan has the angle and knocks him out with a flag thrown in. 2nd down and 10, back to Johnson, able to shake off one hit, gets past McGowan, gets past Merriweather, and finally the Titans make...
Man, watching Chris Johnson just whooping in the snow. Good stuff right here. Maybe we should have just did this game against New England in the snow.
To play. For the first time this year, he hands it off to Chris Johnson over the right side. Johnson with a lot of running room, and he'll gain close to 10 yards on the play. Down at 6 at the 47. Handing it off to Johnson. And Johnson, look at the quick feet. Pops it outside. Johnson diving, and he picks up the first down. Draw play. Johnson. Johnson turns the corner and almost got down the Harper. Chris Johnson with a seam. Chris Johnson. See you later. Touchdown. Oh, they say he stepped out of bounds. First down and 10. Johnson gets his shoulder square. Watch out. He's got getting away from the top speed. Touchdown. 52 yards.
There was nobody there. Hall gets the outside linebacker down, and it's off to the races. And just like we saw Maurice Jones-Drew get away, Chris Johnson does the same thing.
Chris Johnson, 16 carries up. They're 2 of 9 on conversions. Here's the handoff to Chris Johnson. Johnson hurdling. Watch out! Johnson again puts it back. Touchdown, Tennessee! Woo! 89 yards.
We're going to check that again because the thing I'm noticing about Chris Johnson, and I've seen a shitload of Chris Johnson games during my time. I'm fucking be 43, so I seen him in his prime. The thing I'm noticing with Chris Johnson when it's in that initial first burst through the hole, he's already juking. Most guys, you're juking one-on-one, in the open space, like whoop whoop. As soon as he's hitting that hole, he's already throwing the juke move, and then he's fucking gone. Hopefully they show a replay of that. If not, we'll have to go back and check it. But watch, as soon as he hits that hole, I don't even know if anybody was in that hole. He already started moving and kind of getting everybody moving side to side.
Johnson, watch yet another missed tackle for Jacksonville right there.
And the power that he has, too. Chris Johnson running people over.
He just steps out of the tackle of Brian Russell and it's off to the races. And when you get out there, I guess there's just too much space and too little ground to work with for the defenders to get a piece of him.
On a 1st and 10 from the 20 on a toss. Johnson looking to turn the corner, and he does. Streaking down the sideline, Chris Johnson gets a block from Nate Washington. 10, just short of the 15. Handoff, Chris Johnson. Johnson breaking to the clear. And tracked down by...
Man, Patrick Willis was a bad boy, and then we just made that tackle right there. That's another dude, man. It's funny to see them two together because I think that's
Davis. Ahmad Hall, the fullback, with a good block. Under 7 minutes to go in the third. Titans down by 7. Set up the screen for Johnson. And Chris Johnson explodes.
I'm sorry, guys. I keep fucking pausing. I know. I apologize for that. Vince Young. I forgot that him and Vince Young were actually out there around the same time. Could you imagine in today's modern NFL, the way NFL offenses are run? Vince Young and Chris Johnson, RPO, all some speed option plays. My God, the two of them, if they would just brought the modern NFL kind of offense back then, man, that would have been impossible to stop that run game.
Inside the 5. Nice block from trying to tie it up. Handoff, Johnson steamrolls his way in. Touchdown, Titans. And the NFL's leading rusher finds his way to the end zone. Games early in the day. Back to the ground game. Chris Johnson. There it is. He's got sprinter speed down the sideline. And Johnson is gone. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Really poor job by Michael Lewis on the
So Chris Johnson out of bounds. It was that right foot, the step right there, and then was able to walk the tightrope on 4th down.
The option.
Chris Johnson.
Second effort gets it done.
That's funny as shit. That's what I was calling for. Was an option right there. Holy shit.
Johnson with a touchdown, and the Titans go in front. Chris Johnson would not go down on initial contact.
And San Francisco, he's right in position, right there to make the play. Chris Johnson.
And Aldon Smith had him too. He played that option play perfect. Perfect. He played the pitch. Oh, just missed the tackle right there.
Johnson again, his speed and second effort gets it done. Boy, good job blocking, but look at that. Wow, great effort by Chris Johnson.
You know, the amazing part, 3 receivers set on 3rd and 5. Fake the handoff. Young setting up the screen. Put it up in the air for Johnson. And Johnson now going back the other way. Johnson turns it upfield. And he's got a first down.
Well, that's a lot of work for a first down, isn't it?
How about the block from... Set up the screen. Johnson, he's got room. And Johnson falling forward across the 30. Jake Scott. And you had a tuna sandwich. Handoff to Johnson.
See ya.
Johnson's a blur. Touchdown. 28-yard rip. 3rd and 2 after the timeout.
Oh, man, a little bit of option.
Woo! And Johnson streaking down the sideline.
Okay. Why didn't they just do that every fucking basically every other damn play? Running a little bit of option again right there, huh? He hit that fucking edge. He was gone. I mean, Vince Young, granted, I think the best season, this is off the top of my goddamn head, so I could be talking on my ass, but I'm pretty sure his first couple seasons where he was actually putting the ball in the air. You know, that was the thing back then, too. I guess we might as well do some fucking commentary, so I apologize. You can skip over this if you want, but you know, back in the day, when you drafted a scrambling quarterback, it always seemed to be a problem. Like, they didn't want them to scramble. Well, then why fucking draft a scrambling quarterback? That's what the fuck he is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we want him to throw the ball more. You know, you want him to be a passer first. Well, you drafted a scrambling fucking quarterback. All right? Like, fucking, you know? Like, fucking, you're going to have to make it work. And I think Vince Young, he never really had the greatest arm strength. He had a weird kind of motion where he just sidearmed and kind of flinged it, right? Wasn't an over-the-top motion, so there really wasn't a lot of deep balls downfield, at least in my opinion, that Vince Young could throw. I haven't seen the stats off the top of my head. I doubt he had a lot of passes over the air, going over the top. But underneath routes and shit, RPO stuff like that, that's option. That's what I'm saying. Is that LJ Crumpler, too? Holy shit, he used to play for the Falcons, the tight end right there. But, man, running some option. That's what I'm talking about.
Tracked down by Pusluzny.
Now, that's not something...
23-yard line for Tennessee. Young on a handoff for Chris Johnson. Running lane for Johnson. And Johnson nearly broke it as he took it to the second level. 20
yards. He's up here at 197, 228. Almost cracking 200 yards in some of these weeks. And
game tied at 17. Run the option. Johnson will get 2 yards and a whole lot more. Stutter set along the sideline, and Chris Johnson.
Hey, come on, man.
3rd and goal for Tennessee. Handoff, it's Johnson. Johnson hit, and Johnson keeps on going.
Holy shit, I hope they show a replay of that. He's not, the way he's built, you wouldn't think he'd be running people the fuck over, but he just put the truck stick on his ass.
Touchdown, Titans.
smaller linebacker, he's got him right there in the hole. He and Paz Leslie, and they let him get loose. You got to find a way to bring this guy down.
From the gun, screen over the middle. Johnson makes one man miss. Johnson makes another cut. And Chris Johnson accelerating. Incredible. For the Pro Bowler, Chris Johnson, and a pair of rushing touchdowns.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a great play. We used to call that 77.
Look at that, 100 and 100. Chris Johnson doing ridiculous shit. 236 total. Did you have him in fantasy fucking football that week?
Ram through was the first.
And 4. Johnson got a block from his wide receiver. Stays on his feet right through the tackle of Cushing and explodes down the sideline. What a run by Chris Johnson.
Maybe you ought to reconsider, Mike, what I was saying. You know,
Russ, they run a draw. Watch the block on your right side. Bang! You get a one-on-one, and look at that power. Running right over Brian Cushing. And when this guy...
Johnson, first down.
And the clock just keeps ticking and ticking. And since Vince Young returned to...
Johnson dances to the left, look out for the speed of Chris Johnson. To the outside, to the 41-yard line. First down at a gain of 22.
Then it's a third wide receiver. It's 3rd and 5. Johnson carrying. Patient goes outside. He's got a first down. Good blocking up front. He waited for something to open up. Got a first in the Utah. Swing it out to Chris Johnson. Gets by. One man stays in bounds. Nice move as a first down. Across the 40 at the 41-yard line. He slipped the tackles. Go 17-3. 2 tight ends in. It's Chris Johnson. Breaking a tackle. Here's the big run. Johnson down the sideline is going all the way. Touchdown.
Who's that talking shit to him right there?
85-yard run for Chris Johnson, the NFL's leading rusher. Chris Johnson has rushed for 150 yards in the game, becoming the 3rd player in NFL.
By the way, you see that list right there, 3 players with the 3rd player in history with 6 straight 125 rushing yard games. We did an Earl Campbell video. I fucking have it. YouTube has completely blocked it for I can't fucking look at it. It's just wild. You could think the amount of content that we have on this channel, well over, I think we're at 1,200 videos, maybe 1,300, something. That was one of the few statistics that got blocked. Check out Earl Campbell. Which you can check out the one that we did. Same thing got blocked.
History joining Earl Campbell and Eric Dickerson to run for over 125 yards in 6 consecutive games. Vince Young on first down. Whoa, that was victory.
He'll throw it for the first time. Johnson will swing pass, and Johnson cuts it to the perimeter and takes it to midfield. New England still on top. Handoff, it's Johnson. Chris Johnson, a dart. And a first down for Tennessee is
Decisive in terms of his decision making once he has that.
Eric fucking Dickerson rocking the goggles like Horace. And Kurt Rambis. The other ones I'm missing. Orlando Wolverines, maybe. Man, we gotta do some Eric Dickerson. I want to do, the running back's my favorite position. I probably pause it on this fucking thing. This is probably the most video I pause most of the time. I apologize for that. Yeah, we gotta do some Eric Dickerson too. I think he has the record. Right, 21-51 if I'm not mistaken. Peterson did it. I think Dickerson was second.
And we will keep an eye on that number, which continues to climb for Chris Johnson. 11 yards today on a 2nd and 4. Johnson has got tremendous patience, waiting.
The yards after the 16-yard gain. Johnson trying to bounce it outside. Has a crease, has an opening, cuts back. And Chris Johnson is into the end zone. Young in on first down, chased by Chris Long, dumps it out to Chris Johnson. He's got some space, folks. Cuts back to the open field. Chris Johnson cuts back again. He's going to go all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. The Titans start with the ball at midfield. Johnson off the left side has some space, darts for 11 before he is upended. That's Kenny Britt in motion. A quick pitch to Johnson. Does a spin move. He's got some room to cut back. Johnson gets inside the 20 and out of.
Look at Kerry Collins. Chris Johnson said, go fucking block for me, Kerry. Kerry Collins from Penn State. Throwing some blocks for his man, Chris Johnson.
Bounds with 3 seconds to go. Of course, the quarterback, Vince Young. Johnson darting outside, then back inside. He stretches across for his 3rd touchdown of the afternoon. Johnson, quick pitch, bounces outside, and he is inside Rams territory and over 100 on the day as James.
Same college team with Deshaun Jackson, who's starring in Philadelphia. And here's Chris Johnson, and his first sizable run is good for about 10. He gets the call, finds a hole up the middle, and he's down to the 40, his 39th in this rookie year. Now it's Johnson, the 1-2 punch. Young throwing, Johnson running, first down again to the 9-yard line, and now it's Christian. 2.5 to go before halftime. Here comes the screen to Johnson. Oh, has he got running room? 40, 50, 40. Can anyone catch him? Yes, a tackle from behind. Well played by the veteran Jabril Wilson. No, it's Tyrone Culver who got him.
Boy, and he got a Chad Henne sideline sight in.
Yeah. Johnson finds a crease and barrels his way out to the 38-yard line on the first down. Chris Johnson.
A quick 25. Quentin Jammer on the tackle.
You said it right, quick.
Try to anchor things at center. Young, Johnson in space. Hang on. 28. Pick up a 13. Crumpler in motion. Johnson. There's that patience and the speed. Johnson to the 42. Before finally knocked out of bounds. What a run of 16 yards. Johnson on 4th and 2. There's a first down to the 29-yard line.
That's the
Screen for Johnson. Easy way to make up the penalty yardage.
a ton of balls on him.
Chris Johnson. Weddle hanging on by an ankle. Tackles him after a gain of 11,006. Johnson again. Chris Johnson. There we go. How good is he?
You see Cromartie at the end there. Give him a pat on the head. Congratulate him. That's good stuff.
30 yards on the touchdown run for Johnson. His 12th rush.
Puts him at 1872. Once he's through that level now, this is, see, here, there's the strength, and then it's the speed. And then Cromartie at the end of that thing knows he's not going to get there. But he just wants to get over there to congratulate him.
For Tennessee, option, Young on a pitch, and he's got Johnson for a first down. Spin move out across the 50-yard line, hit by Deion Grant. The 2009 regular season. On a pitch for Johnson, he's got an angle. And Johnson able to turn it upfield. Hit by Darryl, tapped down low. Johnson shredding. Fake the handoff, Young. On the toss for Johnson. And Johnson zigzags his way out across the 20-yard line. Hawthorne and Crumpler.
Well, they love the option in this situation.
Handoff, Johnson slicing through for a first down. He picks up 2. Collins. Handoff to Johnson. And Johnson finds a hole. Diving. He's got it. Touchdown, Johnson. Chris Johnson in his bid for history.
What's this here today?
On first down from the 5. Handoff for Johnson. He's got a hole. And Johnson busting through it. Out across the 15-yard line.
It can't miss the boat with Chris Johnson. He's had a phenomenal season.
55 yards away from 2,000. On a first and 10 for Tennessee. Give is to Johnson. And Johnson going down low to get some extra yardage. Michael Roos is a top 3 left tackle in the entire league. Kevin Mawai has been a Pro Bowler for a long time. 7 over the course of his career. A lot of credit has to be given. And the pride that they've taken in blocking for Chris Johnson.
Yeah, you don't rush for 2,000 yards without a very good offensive line. And a good offensive line coach, they have a Hall of Famer in Mike Munchak.
Handoff, Johnson. Up the middle. Johnson leaning into Seattle territory. And he picks up 7 yards on the Chiefs. Johnson lowering the shoulder. He's got a first down across the 45-yard line. Titans on the move. Handoff to Johnson. And Johnson gallops his way out across the 35-yard line. 3 on the day. And 25 yards away from 2,000 for the season.
Yeah, you know, he had over.
Johnson. And he's got it. Chris Johnson is now a member of the 2,000-yard rushing club. He joins an elite group of running backs, just the 6th player all time to get there. What an accomplishment by the second-year sensation, Chris Johnson.
It's amazing when you think that he's now rushed for 2,000 yards. The first time, you see right here, just good patience. Not the biggest back, as we mentioned, 5'11", 200 pounds, but he does run with some power.
3rd and goal, it's a pitch. Johnson slashing to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Tennessee.
But look at that, jersey's ripped. That's going to be one sore back at the end of the day. Really nice job, though, by Chris.
All right, there it is. Good stuff, man. That was fun as shit. That was really fun. That was thanks a lot, THX a lot. Watch that video from his channel right there. Chris Johnson, most appreciated for thanks a lot, THXALOT. Everybody subscribe to that channel. That's where we got that compilation put together. Good stuff, man. Chris Johnson kicking the NFL's ass in 2006. I like it. That was fun. That was really fun. We got these more running backs, especially from that era. Oh, man. Well, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'll see you guys.